Good morning to everyone. I think that people are coming in, as I can see from the participants box. So we'll give everyone a moment to settle in. And I think we should begin. Dimitri, can you see our attendees or can you only see us?
I can see people in the chat box, so we have some people with us today, Anne, and more people are coming in.
So I can
go ahead,
imagine
Anne.
people are settling in, but unfortunately we cannot wait any longer. We must begin. I'd like to begin by saying good morning to everyone, and I'd like to thank you all for being here. I'd like to begin this talk by sharing a thought with you. I think that in times like this, it is true that doctors have saved lives, but I think that is also true that teachers have changed the world. And as a parent, I'd like to thank each and every one of you who are here this morning. My name is Anne Leventeris. I'm the Seminar Department Manager at Burlington Books. And with me today, I have two esteemed colleagues, Mr. Dimitris Koporoskos. Dimitri, kalimera, good morning.
Good morning to you, Anne. Good morning to everyone from all these beautiful places all over the world. Hi, everyone, and welcome to this session.
Dimitri is part of our editorial department, and he's based in our Athens office. I also am very happy to present this morning Alexandra Ladonikola. Good morning, Alexandra.
Good morning, Anne. Hello. It's lovely to see how many people have joined us. We've got people from the Philippines, Indonesia. Lovely to be here.
And lots of people from Greece that I can see. Welcome to everyone. Welcome to everyone. We at Burlington Books are very happy to be here. On behalf of everyone at Burlington, we would like to say a warm good morning and a hello. What we're going to do now is I'm going to share my screen because I'm very happy to be presenting to you our brand new course book series, the Mindset series. So we'll give that a moment to stream. Dimitri?
Yes, Anne.
Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can see your screen.
So, as I said, everyone at Burlington is very excited because we're presenting Mindset B1 Plus and B2, which come in to complete the Mindset series. Mindset B1 has been on the market for a year, and colleagues have been giving us enthusiastic feedback and telling us that their students are enjoying the B1 book and that they find the topics really interesting. Mindset is the ideal course book series for mixed ability classes because it reinforces the mindset that all students can make progress with hard work and a positive attitude, and it doesn't matter how strong or weak they are. All three levels of mindset have fantastic new features, and you can see them all represented by the beautiful icons that you see on the cover. I'd like you to focus on the icons for a moment, and I think that you'll agree with me that the one that stands out the most is the growth mindset. Now, growth mindset is the one that stands out the most because this concept is central to the course. I'd like to take a few minutes to examine it with you because this is what makes the whole philosophy of the book completely new and completely different from anything available on the market to date. Now, the term growth mindset comes from the field of education, and it was coined by Carol Dweck, a professor of psychology at Stanford University. According to this theory, when it comes to learning, there are two different mindsets or ways of thinking, a fixed mindset and a growth mindset, and we all lean towards one or the other. Let's take a look at the fixed mindset. Can you see the lock in the diagram? It is closed because a person with a fixed mindset believes that our level of intelligence and our abilities are fixed. They are locked. They can't change, and we can't develop them. Now, take a look at the growth mindset. Here, there is no lock because here, what we see is a tiny plant ready to grow. because a person with a growth mindset is open to the belief that our abilities and our intelligence can change, they can grow, and they can develop. And let's have a look now at what goes on in the minds of two different students with fixed mindsets. So, for example, if we have someone who does well in English and has a fixed mindset, he might say, I'm good at English. I have a natural talent and nothing will change that. I don't have to work hard at it. While we have, on the other hand, someone who's struggling with English, and he might say, I'm bad at English. I have no talent. I won't try or work hard because there is no point. I'll probably fail anyway. So what do these two people have in common? They both believe that working hard won't make a difference. It's not worth trying. Now, let's take a look at what goes on in the mind of two different people with growth mindsets. Someone who does well in English might say, I'm good at English, but there is more to learn. If I work hard, I can improve and I can get better at it. Who knows how high I can go? The sky's the limit. But at the same time, someone who's struggling with English but has a growth mindset might say, I'm not good at English yet, but I can learn. I can get better. My abilities aren't carved in stone. I can develop them. What do they have in common? Both of them believe that they can improve, that it is worth trying. But the thing about mindsets is that they only exist in our minds. They're beliefs. They are not facts. And educational psychologists believe that mindsets have a huge impact on how we learn and how we progress in our lives. And all learners, no matter how talented they are, need growth mindset to make progress in their studies. And this is the mindset that our books promote. All 3 books in the series contain a number of interesting growth mindset activities, and we'll have a look at how these work in a few minutes. Because before we look at that, I'd like to focus on some other fantastic new features of the course. Let's look at the Stretch Your Mind feature. The Stretch Your Mind feature consists of fun activities, interesting discussion questions, and brain teasers that will challenge your learners to stretch their cognitive abilities. Now you're thinking to yourself, is this a gimmick? I'm here to reassure you that no, it is not, because scientists have shown that the brain can indeed grow. Because when we challenge the brain with new tasks and problems, new neurons grow in our brains and new neural pathways appear. And when we stretch the mind, we actually get smarter. And there are many Stretch Your Mind activities running throughout all 3 parts of the course. Now let's move on to some other features. I'd like to focus your attention on the critical thinking feature. Can you see the icon? We've included challenging tasks that will enable us to develop our learners' critical thinking. And let's not forget, at the same time, that Mindset is a course book that will prepare your students to take the exams that they need to take. It will prepare your students for the variety of B2 level exams like the ECCE, the MSU, the ESB, the FCE, the NOCN, the LRN, etc. As well as providing students with everything that they need to pass the exam, Burlington Mindset will also ensure that your students become confident users of English, because students using Mindset will be able to not only understand English, but they'll also be able to communicate in English, because this is why our students are learning English in the first place, isn't it? And we'd like to reassure you that Mindset B1 Plus and B2 are completely up to date with the changes to the exam specifications in 2020. In fact, tomorrow at 1:15, we'll have a session that explains how you can deal with these changes both at the ECCE and the ECP level. Can you all see the thumbs up icon? The thumbs up icon represents fantastic, up-to-date topics that we have chosen to engage today's teenagers. And something else to keep our teenage learners smiling, the smiley face icon represents the tailor-made documentary videos and links to YouTube videos that add an extra dimension to the topics presented. There is at least one and sometimes two documentary videos in every unit, and each video has a worksheet. And these worksheets are very short 10-minute lesson plans that you can use with your learners. Now that we've looked at the special features, I'd like to move on and look at a unit with you together. We'll be looking at Mindset B2 through the Whiteboard software. So you will allow me to switch screens. So here I am again, and I'm going to be showing the Whiteboard software screen. Dimitri, can we all see the Whiteboard software?
Yes, we can, Anne. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, what you can all see on your screens is the main menu of the Whiteboard software for Mindset B2. The complete syllabus for the B2 level is covered in only 10 units, and you'll see that if we were to look at the B1 Plus book, you would be able to see that the only difference is that the B1 Plus book has 12 units. So whatever we say about the B2 book is also true about the B1 Plus. Today, we're going to be looking at Unit 6. Unit 6 is all about the topic of survival. When I open the unit, you'll see that each unit begins with a growth mindset activity. On the opening page of every unit, there's an interesting photo that's connected to the topic of the unit. What you can see in this picture is people facing the challenges that one might face on the slopes of an icy mountain. And we have an idea that promotes a growth mindset in the quote. Can you all see the quote? Tough times don't last, tough people do. And underneath this picture, there's a discussion question because we want to get our students talking about how this idea might relate to their lives. It says, we all face tough times in our lives, but it helps to know that they pass and that dealing with them helps you become stronger. Have you or someone you know been in a difficult situation? What did you do? What did they do to cope with it? Now, here, at times like this, I'm sure that our students will have plenty to say. And if our students aren't in a position to generate some discussion, there are always possible answers for you to use on the Whiteboard software. So what happens is our students will talk about their own personal experiences, and then they'll be able to begin the unit in a positive frame of mind. I'm going to close this exercise and turn the page for you. Okay, here what we're looking at is a 2-page spread where we're going to be dealing with reading. But because this unit is all about survival, and this is what we're going to be doing, reading in the text, a text about survival, as teachers, we want to think about how we're going to teach this. And what we want to do before we tackle the text is pre-teach some key vocabulary. I'm going to open exercise 1 for you. And in exercise 1, you'll see keywords that will appear in the reading text that follows. Now, because of the Whiteboard software, you can play the word, and so your students can hear it, and you can also click on it, and they can see the Greek translation. Leaving this exercise, I'm going to open the word list dictation feature, which is in the top left-hand corner of the page. And here you can also use this to present the lexical items that appear in the vocabulary exercise. I think now we're ready to deal with the text. The text is entitled Lost at Sea. Now this text is a gripping story of 2 pilots who were flying over the Pacific Ocean near Hawaii, and then suddenly their engines failed. And it deals with the perils that these 2 people faced. They were attacked by sharks and they survived. And at the end of the story, we find out that a jellyfish attack left one of the pilots unconscious. And the question that we're asking our students at the end of this reading is, can they survive this too? And we deal with this question in the exercise right beneath. Can you see the exercise? It's the critical thinking activity. Here, we want to ask our students to predict what happens next. There's a question here. The question is, from what you have read about the pilots and their determination, do you think they will reach Hawaii? Now, what we want our students to do here is to predict. And once we have a discussion in class, we have a reason to listen to the rest of the text. And so you'll find that this is a great listening activity exercise where your learners will be engaged and will want to see what happens. I promise you, on a positive note, that both the pilots made it through. But I think that you'll agree with me that a text like this is a really good example of our growth mindset quote on the opening page. The fact that tough times don't last, but tough people do. And there is one critical thinking skills question in every text in the book. Now, if you look toward the right, you'll see that we have 2 reading comprehension text exercises that follow the text. Now, the first task in this unit is multiple choice. Now, multiple choice questions appear on many different exams, and you can show the answers from the whiteboard by clicking, and you can also show the justification. This feature will enable you to save a lot of time in class and will encourage your learners to get into the good habit of referring back to the text. And if I can just draw your attention to this part of the page, you'll see that there is a second exam style task in every unit. And having 2 tasks enables the teacher to prepare students for the variety of B2 exams that are available on the market, including the newer exams like the NOCN and the LRN. And teachers can decide whether they want to assign one or both of these tasks. This is just one of the ways that the book caters for the mixed ability classes. And down here, you'll see that we have our tailor-made documentary videos. And these videos are about real life. This particular video is about real life rescues at sea. I'm going to play a bit of this video for you, and you have the option of playing it with or without subtitles. Now, this again enables you to cater to the needs of your learners, whether they need the support of the subtitles or not. So sit back and enjoy this snippet of the video.
Rescues at sea. The world's oceans cover about 70% of the Earth's surface. At times, they are places of calm and natural beauty. But all it takes is a sudden change in the weather, and they can suddenly transform into the deadliest of environments. For those who find themselves in sudden danger, it is comforting to know that there are organizations around the world, such as the Coast Guard, that are dedicated to rescuing those whose lives are at risk in the water. The Coast Guard can use a wide variety of equipment, and they employ a number of highly trained people, such as pilots and rescue swimmers.
I think that you'll agree that these videos are amazing and that they will engage your learners. There's also a video worksheet that can be accessed directly from the Whiteboard software, and it has its own mini lesson plan. I'd like now to move on to the next page. And I'd like to share with you the vocabulary. You'll see that we practice vocabulary in interesting context, vocabulary that comes directly from the text, very much like this one, which is another moving survival story about a young team of football players who were trapped in a cave in Thailand with their coach. And at the end of this particular page, you'll see that we have a game. And games are wonderful for our classes, especially a game like this, which enables you to practice the vocabulary that you've taught so far in the unit. Let's move on to the next page and look at grammar. You'll see that in this unit, we are presenting the causative and we're presenting let and make. There are clear grammar explanations given in the unit, but there is a longer, more detailed explanation of grammar in the grammar appendix, which can be found both on the whiteboard and at the back of the student's book. And turning the page, you'll see that grammar is practiced in context which will also appeal to today's teens. For example, we have a text here that looks at survival from a very different angle. We're asking our children if they can survive without their phones. And after the grammar, you'll see that we present more vocabulary. Can you see it on the page? Because what we want children to do is to access vocabulary in bits. Teachers have been telling us that children find it very difficult to absorb a lot of vocabulary in one go. So in Mindset, we've broken up vocabulary teaching into 3 sections so that children get it in gradual stages. And this is just one more way in which the book is suitable for teaching mixed ability classes. And teachers who are using Mindset B1 have told us that it really helps their students to absorb new vocabulary. And down here, we have another example. We have an example of a stretch your mind activity. The stretch your mind activities that I mentioned earlier. Now, we don't have the opportunity to do this today, but I can assure you that it will lead to a very lively class discussion. I'm going to move on to exam practice, which is next. And here, we're going to do more work with vocabulary and grammar from the unit. As you can see, there's plenty of practice covering all the major B2 level exams, including multiple choice, transformations, and multiple choice close. Now, the last part of the unit is given over to skills, and the skills section covers all the main types of listening, speaking, and writing tasks that appear on all the B2 exams. Listening is the first skill that we'll be looking at, and there's always a pre-listening activity. Here, I've opened up the pre-listening activity to share with you a photo of the Zagori mountain range. And you'll notice that on the page, there are 2 listening tasks in exam style, and this is true for each unit. The second one is in the ECCE style. And the focus on language activity highlights useful new vocabulary and expressions that we encountered in the listening. Turning the page, we can see the speaking skills. Now here, we cover all the B2 exam tasks. In this particular unit, we are looking at an ECCE type task. And you'll see if you look at exercises 2 and the speaking guide, that there is plenty of guidance and useful language, because what are we aiming to do? We want to raise our learners' level of communication. You'll also see that we have discussion questions in every unit to help our students prepare, not only for the B2 exams, but real life. There's always one discussion question which actually picks up on the growth mindset idea presented at the beginning of the unit. Do you remember the question? Do you remember the quote that tough times don't last, tough people do? Well, now we ask our students, when is it important to be tough? Now, this is not an easy question to answer for the age group that we're working with, but given the variety of interesting information and ideas that they've already seen in the unit, our students should have plenty to say. But let me reassure you that there are model answers to help you on the Whiteboard software. Let's now look at the next page and move on to writing. We use 2 pages to cover writing, and we do have exam-style writing tasks to introduce the skills needed for all the types of writing commonly tested on the B2 exams. On the first page of the writing section, we call it the work with a model. We're going to be working with helping our students develop this particular genre. In this unit, we're working with a story. You'll see that we analyze the task for our learners, we provide a model, and students complete a plan. And if I can just draw your attention to exercise 4, you'll see that we also have language that will help our students complete this type of writing successfully. I'm going to turn the page for you now. And on the second page, you'll see that we're devoting it completely to preparing our students for their task. We're going to teach our students the techniques that they need for brainstorming ideas, and this will be invaluable to them when they sit their exams. And then when we look at exercise 8, which is the task itself, you'll see that we give our learners a general plan and plenty of useful language so that they can do the writing task successfully. We can also access model writing task from the Whiteboard software, but you can also find this in your teacher's guide. And this brings us to the end of the unit itself. But I'd like to look at the 3 fabulous appendices that we have at the book. These appendices enable you to do thorough recycling with your learners. The first one is the unit review. And here we work with material that we've covered in the unit again. And there's a game to further consolidate it. The next appendix is called the Vocabulary Builder. Now, the Vocabulary Builder helps us introduce derivatives of words that our students have learned in the units of the course book. There's 1 page of Vocabulary Builder for every 2 units in the course book. And teachers have been telling us that the Vocabulary Builder really boosts their students' vocabulary. You'll see that we have a game here too. And moving on to the last review, 3rd appendix, here we have exam reviews and we have 1 for every 3 units. I'm going to flip through it and point out that there's also an extra reading task here as well. The workbook can be accessed from the tab up here, and I'm just going to open it for you and reassure you that it follows the student's book unit for unit. The workbook has been written with the intention of assigning it for homework. It's fully interactive on the Whiteboard software, and as I flip through it, you should be able to see that there's plenty of vocabulary and grammar practice, and there's an extra writing activity in the workbook. Now, this writing activity comes in to consolidate the genre that we taught in the main student's book. I'd like now to go back to my slides. You cannot see my slides, am I correct?
No one, we can't see your slides.
Just a second, you will be able to in a second. Oh, the wonders of technology and the interesting lives we lead. Dimitri, can you see my slides now?
Yes, Anne, thank you.
Okay, let me just click to the next one. Like I said, oh, the wonder of the technologies. So thank you all for bearing with me, and I'm sure that you can see my slides. I'd like to take a moment to go back to the videos that I introduced to you at the beginning of the talk. These videos are a very special part of the course, and teachers who have been using Mindset B1 have told us they're very useful. In fact, I'm going to take a moment to share some of the lovely comments they've sent to us. They tell us that students definitely benefit from the videos. They provide general knowledge and an opportunity to use the vocabulary taught to express themselves in a relaxed situation. Additionally, teachers have shared that the videos help students understand and remember the ideas and the vocabulary from the unit and then transfer them to their writing. And finally, we were very happy to find out that teachers believe that the worksheets are a great help. Now, I'd like to show you a short video. I'm not going to show you the whole thing from the Mindset series. Now, Dimitri, I'm going to share a different screen. Can you see my video screen, Dimitri?
It's crystal clear, Anne.
Wonderful. I would like to invite everyone to watch a bit of this video, which is all about the bicycle revolution. We're going to find out a little bit about the future of transport.
The bicycle revolution. When you think of the future of transport, what comes to mind? Electric-powered jets that take off and land vertically, giant airships, advanced rail systems, and flying cars. While all these amazing vehicles are fast becoming a reality, did you know that the good old-fashioned bicycle is making a big comeback, especially in cities? Why? Because they are the fastest, cheapest, healthiest, and most convenient way to travel in the city. Bicycle cities. In In some cities, the bicycle has already replaced the car as the main mode of transport. One such city is Groningen in the Netherlands, which has become a great example of how well bicycles and cities can go together.
I'm going to tear you away from this video, which I'm sure that you'll find very interesting and which I'm sure will encourage your learners to take part and have lovely discussions in class. There are lots of videos that I could share with you, but unfortunately we are running out of time. I'm going to close in a moment by just sharing my the last of my PowerPoint presentation, because as I'm doing this, I'd like to remind you Dimitri, I'm having difficulty sharing my screen because I'm sure you cannot see my screen. Am I correct?
Yes, and we can't see your screen, but I'd just like to say that we are running a bit late.
Now? Can you see it now?
Not quite yet, Anne.
Okay, let me just close up by saying that we have a wonderful package for our students, including students' books and ebooks and workbooks and companions and test books. And we have the brilliant Burlington Mindset Interactive Practice, and we have a wonderful package for our teachers, including access to the Burlington Learning Management System and the Whiteboard software I shared with you. My apologies for any technical difficulties that we might have had this morning. It is something new. I'd like to finish by saying thank you to everyone who attended. There were so many of you here. You do honor us with your presence. And I'd like to end this session by saying thank you to Dimitri and Alexandra, and to remind all of us that tough times don't last, but tough people do. I hope you all have a wonderful day today. Thank you for being here with us on behalf of Burlington Books. Alexandra and Dimitri, I'm going to leave